In 3, 2. Hey, Khoa, so talk to us. Tell me one or a couple insurance tactics, bullet points, or strategies that you know can definitely help other practice owners out if we were to implement it today.
Insurance tactics. My best answer to that is making sure that you get a full breakdown for every insurance that comes in. The reason why I say that is whenever I first started working with my wife, I had zero experience in dental, right? I didn't know that to get a breakdown, it would be about 2 hours, depending on the insurance to get. And everybody said that picking up the phone was key to the success of your practice. So if the phone rang and I was on hold with the insurance, I would have to hang up on the insurance, get the phone. And sometimes it was a telemarketer that was, just a computer. And I was like, oh, dang it, I just lost my time of like 45 minutes on hold with Delta Dental. And then I'm on hold, a rep comes on, patient comes in, I got to check them in. So for me, the toughest part and the most important part of making sure that you're successful is getting a proper breakdown for the insurance. That to me dictates everything in the practice. If you get a full breakdown, whenever you do the exam, take the x-rays on the patient, it leads to the doctor finding treatment. Patient's going to want to know what their insurance covers. If they have pretty decent or accurate numbers, then they're more than likely going to want to start that treatment. And I say accurate numbers because there's always an estimate, right? Insurances will give you information based off of what they see. So that's why it's always beneficial to try to get it ahead of time. That way it's going to be, you kind of take out some of the uncertainty. But insurance are still going to get you. They're going to say, oh, well, we didn't say this or we didn't do that. And for me, the most important part of getting an insurance breakdown was asking all of the right questions depending on the codes that you use for your office, making sure that you get the history, making sure that you get frequencies, waiting periods, missing tooth clause. And to be honest, though, all of those issues lost the practice a lot of money because I was inexperienced at the time. And then also making sure you get the reference number and the rep's name. To be honest with you, I've actually been able to overturn a couple of denied claims because we had that information. And then, like I said, we get a very detailed breakdown each time. You should see the scratch sheet of paper that I had all of my front desk use. It's literally like tiny portions to put in the code and frequency. I had this one girl, she just like squeezed everything in and like wrote around the paper. But guess what? That was like the most accurate one. I barely had to collect anything from the patient. Insurance paid everything, and she's now my manager.
Yeah. So get a super deep. So when it comes to like asking all the right questions on the insurance company, is there anything where you're like, oh, there's too many questions, Michael?
Oh, they're going to always throw that at you. You have insurances that will say you get 5 codes. That's it. Or you can only get 1 patient. I'm like, but I have 4 patients that are with you. It took me X amount of time to get to you, right? My biggest thing is the person that does the verification, just don't be flustered by it. The insurance companies, they're just doing their jobs, but the insurance verifier, your job is to get the information. For me, it's just ask as many questions as you can. If you didn't hear it or didn't get it right, then tell them to repeat it. I mean, you will have some insurance, some reps that just speed through it. Oh, cool, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, wait, what? Especially if you're trying to write it down or type it in, you don't have the time to do that. But just settle yourself and just realize that your job is to get the information. Don't be intimidated by the agent.
Gotcha. So not be intimidated. I like that. How not to be flustered by insurance companies, right? When it comes to that, because I feel like that happened a ton, at least to me. And I was just like, I guess you're right, and then you just let it go. So if you did reach them and then they're like, hey, I only have time for one, or I can only do one person, what's the best way to say like, well, I have a couple patients today that have you, you know?
Just that, just exactly what you said. If I can only do one, hey, look, I have, just sometimes what I would like to do is maybe group partials with a full breakdown, right? After a while, you'll kind of see the trend. So we'll have a spreadsheet that says, hey, MetLife, we'll give you 5 codes. Delta Dental is going to be a 2-hour hold. Whatever the case is, every practice runs into different roadblocks depending on their status with the insurances. So with that, like I said, going back to not being intimidated and just asking the question, hey, you can only give me 5 codes, but I have 4 patients. Do you mind if I get all 5, the 5 codes for those 4 patients on this call? And some reps, they're just like, yeah, why not?
Mhm.
And some are going to tell you no, so you hang up and call the next one.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's all part of not being intimidated. Okay, this rep is being mean to you. On the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like hang up and then go, got you, man. So then what would you do in the scenario if someone is busy, right? Like your front office is busy, checking out a patient, scheduling them. You're on the phone with the insurance person, right? Do you recommend they just have someone specifically to verify insurances? Like, is that where that comes in or what, or what?
That is where most practices want to be. That's not always possible to implement, right? I
Mhm.
mean, take me, for example, when we were starting out, we didn't have the ability to get 3 front desks, one to check in, one to answer calls, one to get on the phone and verify insurances. We didn't have the capacity to do that. Um, I guess we're kind of unique situation was I had to figure out how to get it. So whenever I hired somebody to train that person how to do it, it took them about 3 months to properly get the breakdown. At the 3rd month, they quit and went somewhere else to get $3 more because they could tell this new job that they can do a full breakdown. So my partner and I actually asked if we wanted to share one. We're in our startup phase, right?
Mhm.
Any money that you can save, you want to do it. So what that ended up turning out to be was that person that we hired ended up being the manager that taught more agents. And we verify to make sure that the agents know what to do. We listen to the recordings to verify all this stuff. But yes, so the short answer is I would want to have somebody dedicated to that, because of how important it is. To me, that's the beginning of your potential production,
Yeah.
right? That's the beginning of the revenue cycle. You get the breakdown, it dictates the numbers that you present to the patient, dictate if the patient wants to accept the treatment and how the insurance pays. And that's the collection is what you need to make sure that everybody that you have on the payroll is paid.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. For anybody listening right now who's maybe like a front office team member or something like that, who's brand new, what's a proper breakdown?
Proper breakdown. So first, I would start off with the codes that you're going to use. To me, the proper breakdown is getting all of the patient's information, the subscriber information, making sure where you send the insurance claims electronically, the payer ID is correct. Top things for me is always getting the waiting period and the missing tooth clause. And from there, I start off with your diagnostic codes, your exams, your x-rays, and then you get the frequency or how much is covered, how often they're covered, and then if there's any history behind it. And from there, it just gets way more complicated, right? How
Mhm.
about, does this code connect here? Does this code connect here? Where do they share frequencies? So whenever I train the ones that I have in office, I make them go through the hard sheet first. I want them to get on the phone and actually see the difficulties of getting a breakdown, and going through the challenges, because then whenever, they get to submit it to a portal where an agent does it for them, they're not just like, where is it? Where's my breakdown? Don't they have it already? They appreciate it more, right?
Mhm.
But that's essentially it. It's you have to figure out what you do most in your practice, and from there you get the codes that you need. You get the primary codes that you need in preventative diagnostics, in your perio column, your oral surgery, your endodontics, restorative, and if you do any type of braces. So those are the typical categories that I hit. But after a while, you'll know what you use the most. And a lot of times that helps too. So if you read more books like, Travis's book, for example, he'll
Mhm.
give you a lot of tips on how to like group codes together. So then that dictates how your breakdown should look. Because after a while, you're just reading down the list. You say, hey, I need this, and this, how it breaks down.
Yeah.
Does
That's
that
good,
make
man.
sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's complicated. It's really complicated for like especially if someone's just, how some people say like I'm just gonna hire for personality, and then if they don't know anything about dentistry or anything, and
That
you bring them on to do that.
I still think that is actually a very good way of looking at it. I'm actually going to see if I can pull up one of our old templates for you, just
Mhm.
to show you what I give to my trainees, so to speak.
And you give this to every person you hire on, or in the front?
The all of my new all of my new front desk, yes, I want them to be able to do a breakdown, because at the end of the day, the service that I have is supposed to be a complement of what we do in the office. If
Mhm.
they run into some problems, I can't have them waiting around for it. I need them to be able to go, you know what, it's been too long. This is where we're at this time in the patient's time or appointment. So I'm going to go do it myself.
Yeah.
And they're going to know what to hit on. They're going to know, oh, I just need these few for now. And then these, I'm just going to give them I'll give them our normal price structure.
Mhm.
And from there, at the end of every treatment plan, you say, hey, this is only an estimate based off of what we know. And at this point, you reiterate, hey, this is actually a real estimate because I was not able to get in contact with your insurance, but this is the typical flow that I've seen for your specific insurance.
Yeah.
Oh man, I only have what we. Give me a second. I'll find it.
Okay, no worries. But this is what you give from your company Verifix, right? This is what you
Yeah,
give
yeah.
them?
So
Okay.
all of our agents. So this is my front desk and also Verifix. So it's not just yeah. So I do it within our office too. And like I said, Verifix to me is a complement to our practice. Obviously, we're getting to a point where we're more dependent on them, but I never want to lose the ability to be able to get the breakdown ourselves.
Yeah. Got you.
That was a good question though. Because for me, Verifix, the biggest thing is that time, right? Whenever I was telling you that I could be on hold for X amount of time,
Mhm.
and but needing to be available for the patient that walks in.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest part to balance, and that was the main goal that we wanted to like alleviate for most practices, is that time that you spend on hold. Let us do that. Let us get the breakdowns for you, and then from there you concentrate on the patient.
Yeah.
So let me show you what this started off as. How do I turn this thing? Oh, I can actually send you a copy of this if you prefer. But you see how little that might be? So
Yeah.
subscriber information, patient information, insurance information, uh, coordination of benefits, assignment of benefits. That's a misspelling. Oops, missing tooth clause. These the current forms, we usually have this in red, right? Those are the most important ones. But you got preventative, so that's going to be your exam codes, your cleaning. I forgot to mention that. Fluoride sealants. Basic is going to be your fillings, perioral maintenance, SRPs, majors, crown. So these three categories are really your main categories. And a lot of times the codes that they give you, they're going to say preventive. Oh, it's at this frequency. Is at basic frequency. Oh, that's one of the things I didn't get in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, preventative. I only have these things I have to worry about. Or major, only have these things. I'm asking you for periodontics. Why did you give me this percentage? So those are things where I was saying, don't get intimidated, because they're going to say, oh, you're dumb. But if obviously I have a little bit more skin in the game because it's my family's practice. And I say, no, man, give me the actual percentage for whatever that is. So it's since graduated a little bit. For a while, we were making a Word document that we can type in. And that eventually became the PDF format that we use at Verifix. And I can give you a glimpse of that too, if you like.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome if you can send that over, and then everybody listening can just go in the show notes below and, like, you know what I mean? Check it out, download it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll just do a quick one for you just so that you see. So that's the full breakdown as it looks now. Your office information. This is the fee schedule and the information that they give you from the insurance. Waiting periods, red. Missing tooth clause, red. And I was telling you that it has specific categories. You'll see it right there. See, it's 3 different categories. No matter what your, I guess, treatment columns are, or sections are, they do go back into those 3.
Wow.
But yeah, obviously that's on a computer and blurry. I'm more than happy to send you that copy of that.
No, it was clear. It was clear. It was good. Awesome. So yeah, if anybody has any questions or concerns or anything like that, where can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on my phone. That's 281-547-7223. If it says Restoration Smiles, that's because it's actually my practice line. It's a little bit easier to get through to me. Otherwise, email us at info@verifix.net if it's for insurance verification. But I know there's a lot of people that are starting up, and I mean, I feel like we're a little bit better, but I also feel like we're learning every day. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My personal email is paris.win@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook. You see how responsive I am sometimes.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Awesome. So I appreciate your time. And if anyone has further questions, you can definitely go in the show notes below and reach out to Khoa there, or find him on the Dental Marketer Society Facebook group as well. And thank you for being with me on this Monday morning marketing episode.
Thanks for having me.